All right, guys, welcome back to Beautiful Mind. Today we're going to be talking about our November update for Bitcoin, what we can maybe expect to see in the next coming weeks here. So let's just dive right into that. Okay, so these white lines here that you see across all the way up here, they represent the areas on our square. Let's just go take a look at that. Sorry. Let's see here. All right. All right, guys. So these these points here, these red lines that go around this square, and the square continues to grow around and around. And the even squares, like 4, 16, 36, 64, and 100 all line up this way. And the odd squares all line up on this side. And it just continues on that way. So for today, we're interested in the numbers that are vibrating on our natural point on our square. So take a look at these and update your chart so that you can have the levels on your chart and be able to ascertain when we've reached one or two or three of them. And if in fact it means that we're either going to get support here and move all the way up to our 40, because this is the last move in our sequence before we have a big correction into December, early December. We'll talk about that in a minute. Most likely 34 is our level. However, we still need to retest our 31 here, as this point right here is our overhead support for the last 6 months. And it's been exactly that. And we had a change in trend 180 degrees or days, just as Mr. Gann would state. So from there, we've moved up now and we've been pressing on this 38, and we've been receiving a lot of overhead resistance at this 40. So this is a very critical area here. We've been talking about this. I've color coordinated this square of 9, and you can buy one of these tools from me. I've just tuned this to Bitcoin. So the yellows represent the tops and the pinks represent our bottoms. So where we could expect resistance and overhead support. So from there, looking at our chart now, here we are. This is our square of 9 level. You should be populating your charts now with the lines at 40,000, 43, and of course all the 8 octaves of the year. This is what this is, or 45 degrees, or 45 days that the sun moves around. Okay, so now that we've ascertained that we have these areas of resistance and support and overhead resistance. So for now, 34 is our current bottom. And I expect by early December here, we will have another bottom. Why is that? Well, let's just go take a quick look at that and let's see why. So we know that we've had a series or sequence, and we're interested in sequential relationships. So back in December, we made our bottoms after our initial yearly bottoms and our cycle bottoms from our tops 1 year later. And here we are again 1 year later, and we're at a top. So it says to me that, we're going to be creating a level. Are we going to be coming back to these levels? I don't really think so. I don't. It's the market has changed and it's gotten much stronger. We're going to talk about the sections of a bull and a bear campaign in the book that Mr. Gann has. But first of all, in December here, if we move out 88 days, and we'll start from the back, right? Well, we're at the top here, and we'll look back. And we go back 88 days, okay? So from 88 days, we would move forward and we'd be looking for another sequence. Let's go do that. All right there. Okay. However, the main bottom did come in here. Okay, so that's interesting. Well, let's just go up here and let's just take a look and see what we can see from here. So we're looking for our 88 days. Oh, bingo. Another 88-day sequence. Okay. 88 is a very enigmatic number too. Mr. Gann talks about those in many of his books and stuff. All right, so from there, we're looking for the next sequence. So let's just come out and let's find out where our next 88 is going to occur. Well, as you guys know, I already do all this work ahead because Mr. Gann has taught me to do so, because I own all his books and courses, have taken the original Gann forecasting course 20 years ago. I'm very well versed in all this stuff. So this is where our next potential time frame. It doesn't mean where I've got this little yellow marker. It doesn't mean that that is in fact where it's going to be. However, 34 right now looks like a level because we are in fact sitting right on that level on our last bottom. Is that going to be our new floor? Well, we'll see if we're going to retest this level, but that time frame is going to come in right in here. Somewhere in here, we're going to have this 88-day bottom in this sequence. And we need to look and see if this is going to repeat, because if it changes and it overcomes the amount of area or time or space, as Mr. Gann states in his books, as I'm going to show you, that a change in trend can and may occur, and to be watching out for that. So with that being said, we have our next 88-day period in this area. So we're just going to be mindful that a buy is going to come in around here. So keep your stops tight. We may be sitting back on 31, this 31.8 level. We may be retesting it. We could come as low as this into our channel right now, and we could certainly come as high as this area here and resume and bump into our upper part of our channel. And of course, our next square of 9 marking would be at 46 here. So I didn't populate that, but that's where it would be. So we'll be mindful of that. Even though I have these extension lines up to this area, doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin will go there. So we need to be mindful, keep our stops well placed. You know, if you just recently bought in, be mindful. You might have to re-enter. We might just retest this area. So, however, right now, this is our next area to bounce off of for resistance. If we move through this area, it definitely will be down to here. Our next resistance would be right here. And we could certainly come right back to 28, 132. We easily could fall down. Easily. All this really nonsense news. I don't talk about the news, as you guys know. I just talk about the facts. I just talk about time cycles and sequences. So I totally omit all the stuff that goes on in the news. And we have had nothing but the SEC being very, very difficult to deal with. They flip back and forth about these Bitcoin ETFs and whatnot, and they make all this sensational news, and BlackRock is either rejected today and then tomorrow it's approved. And so we can't listen to any of that. None of it. None of it. So Bitcoin is in fact the apex predator. It is the most successful digital gold currency on the market, and it only has 1 trillion and for market capitalization. And Bitcoin, for a total market capitalization in the whole world, everything including you, me, your garden, your dog, and your girlfriend, and everything, and every building, every rock and tree, is worth about 250 trillion. So I asked my AI chat GPT to divide the amount of Bitcoins into 250 trillion. So 21 million coins divided into 250 trillion turns out to be about $10 trillion a coin, a Bitcoin. That's why they want you dead. Okay, now that we got over that, eventually Bitcoin will absorb all the assets eventually. It's the most successful thing. So we just need to be wary of that. Are we going to revisit 5, 10, and 15 and all this? As you guys know, I am a bad news bears, and I have been, even though we've been moving up in this market, and we're going to talk about that as well. We've changed. I was waiting for this breakout way back here. As you know, many of my tutorials, we were waiting for this 37 and 40 sequence to kick in back here. However, it took exactly 180 days for a change in trend to occur and for us to move back up into a new area and recreate a new building block. And I think that this is going to be our building block area. And it's very easy to see that this level is our building block. We've been bouncing off of this for 180 days. It's been a very serious overhead support. And once we overcame this with our triple top here, we're looking like we're into the second stage of the market. So let's go take a look at what Mr. Gann has to say about these things. Hopefully this is going to be good enough for you guys to see. This is Mr. Gann's book, How to Make Profits, Trading in Commodities. These books that he penned, everything that he states happens over and over again. It's by repetition, and this is in fact what he's talking about. So when we talk about the sections of a market, a bull market as well as a bear market has 4 sections. And this is what he states here. Let's just make this a little bigger so you guys can see that. And what we're talking about here, or what he is talking about here, is that we had an advance off a final bottom, and then there was a secondary reaction. Okay, that's interesting. Looks like it's right here. And then we get into the second section of this campaign, okay? So we're just going to move this over to the side here. All right. The second phase, an advance to new highs for the move. In many cases, this means the end of the campaign, but you must watch. Did I just advance to higher levels above the highs of previous weeks and of the first advance, then a reaction. So there we go. So we came up, we had our first advance, another reaction, and we moved up. So we're now moved in okay, to our second section here. And from there, we can move into what is the third section, an advance to new high for the move. We haven't had that yet. That has to happen at 69,000. We have to get above that and sit on that. And that is when the third section of this bull market will, in fact, start. And that will mean a move to new highs. In many cases, this means the end of the campaign, but you must watch for a definite indication before deciding that the third run up means a change in the main trend. And then he goes on to say there's a fourth section. Often, four sections are run out of this fourth move or run up in the most important to watch for the end of the bull campaign and a change in trend. So from there, when we get above 69,000, which right now would be that yellow line, and I feel that, guys, I've already made my 2024 and 2025 reports and forecasts for Bitcoin, and all my students and everyone who's attended a course or bought into courses are automatically going to receive those, and they will do them or as well get the knowledge to do that as well for themselves. So anyone will be signing up to any of my courses online or in-person workshops are automatically receiving my 2024 and 2025 forecasts. As I've stated before, if you go back and look at my tutorials and tear them all to pieces, I want you to tear them to pieces. My forecast for the 12, 13, 14, and 15 months for the end of the cycle was 100% correct. And I penned that, I think that was May 2nd. It was back before we had this big fall off anyways. And I was talking to you that I didn't feel that, that this area was 17 was going to be not a bottom. It wasn't going to be our final bottom. And I stated that it would be exactly 12, 13, and 14 and 15 months later, just as it's happened, well, over the last 12 years, 3 times. And that's why I'm so accurate with my forecasts. And this is why I have Bitcoin. And if you pay attention to my forecasts and the things that I do here, you will, in fact, be helping yourself and your family out in a great way. So we have our next Fibonacci sequence here. And as I told you, when we chase down these lines and break out, we often go up to these next Fibonacci lines, and then we recycle back to them and make a bottom on them before taking off. Now, my previous tutorials, I'm a bad news bears, guys. I always worried that, we could get some really terrible things happen and we could do a tumble. But right now, I'm kind of thinking that 15,000, I don't know. I mean, it's possible we could do this, it's very possible. But right now, the second section of this market has started, and we are now about to, this December here, confirm that 31 is in fact our new stepping block before we move up and complete the third section of our market. And that will happen, of course, once we pass through this ring here. And once we pass through these rings, we always get a major burst of energy. And looking back here, if we look at the ring theories, these are Fibonacci rings. They come down and they pierce right through our tops. And once we overcome them, then the energy of the market is extremely strong, and you should pay attention to that. Anyway, guys, I thought I would just show you some stuff that had to do with the sections of a bull market and the bear market, of course, and you just have to pause this and, of course, read this. This stuff is this is the stuff that made Mr. Gann millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I just pointed out how, if you just pay attention to the things that he says about how to find out and make logical and sensible determinations, then we need to study the past, right? Because time is the most important feature, right? Time. So pay attention to those things. All right, guys. Peace and love and safe trading. Make sure your stops are tight. And I'm going to be populating a bunch more tutorials. I'm working on some online courses and stuff. And I've been really busy doing that stuff. So this is the reason why I haven't been populating many tutorials and stuff. So pay attention to those coming out. And peace and love. Tear my stuff to pieces. And be safe out there. Peace and love.